Well, hello and welcome to another Faith, Philosophy and Life with me, Mr. Shelton. It's been quite a long time since I've done one of these, so forgive me if I'm a little bit rusty, but there are a few things that have come up that I just need to go over with people within my centre. I just want to reiterate, as I do on many occasions, I'm not an examiner. I've never marked for AQA, so this is my best going through the things that I think can best help you get the best grades that you are possible for. If you are at a grammar school or you're coming out with grade 8, grade 9s, then you may want to look elsewhere for other how-to videos. This is to get through the bare minimum to get sort of grade 5, grade 6s and grade 7s. That's sort of where I'm aiming for. So while I get myself set up, here's our cheesy intro sequence. Okay, so I'm going to be going through the AQA Thematic Studies paper, or specifically one section within it. Now, as you know, there are 6 sections within it. I'm just going to be looking at the Religion and Life section, which is section B. Please remember that each section should take you roughly 25 minutes to complete, so it's not very fast. You do have the usual instructions on the front of the paper, and there you are, there's the 25-minute section at the bottom there. So the idea is that you're going to be writing in an answer booklet, and whatever you write is what gets scanned in and gets marked. Remember, the way that it works is that it is simply to do with scanning it in and sending it off. So what you write and what you cross through in the order that you do it is how it gets through to the examiners. So it's really important, it's really clear on what you do. So I'm going to take you through each question at a time. Please note, as I say, the more detail you can put into your answers, the better it is. So the first question, which one of the following terms explains how different species have changed and developed? Okay, that's worth 1 mark. So all that you need to do is simply a multiple choice one, is you simply write the letter. So in this case, the answer would be D. So you write D and then write the response to it. Let me just show you. There you go. And you just simply write D. It's not that complicated. Well, you might think it is, but it really isn't. If I move on to the next question then, the next question is give 2 reasons why many people experience awe and wonder when they look at the natural world. Now, it's really important to note with this that it isn't how they experience awe and wonder, it's why they experience awe and wonder. So you need to think, what is awe and wonder? So awe and wonder is about majesty, it's about things being amazing, it's about God's creation according to this question. It could be about things that just surprise you. It could be about things that change you, that inspire you. All of those are reasons that could fulfill this. Now, what I do want to do is I just want to show you what the exam actually says about it. So, if you look at this, this is basically how a 2-mark answer gets marked, and it actually looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. So a 2-mark short answer, the principle here is to provide in the mark scheme 1 mark for each of 2 correct points. So any more than 2, you don't get the marks for it. Okay, so you're limited to 2 marks. The first 2 things get written down are how your mark is graded. So if a student gives more than 1 answer on the first line according to the mark scheme, or any other answers on the second line, the first 2 answers on the first line are the ones that are marked. So if you write an extended answer in the first line including more than 1 point and then do a second point, or shall I say a third point on the next line, then actually what will happen is you won't gain the marks for that second bullet point. So the first thing to say is your answers can be very brief. In fact, the briefer they are, the shorter they are, the better chance you've got of getting both marks. And it's as simple as that. If you elaborate during your first answer, You're not required to do that, so the more detail you write, the harder it actually might be for you. Then you need to make sure that you've got 2 points and you don't actually expand that first point to include a second point. I think that kind of makes sense. So if we revert back to the question which was asked, which was, give 2 reasons why people may experience awe and wonder, and then when they look at the natural world, you could talk about the majesty of the world. That could be one of them, and the second one could be the idea that you're always impressed with the way that the sun comes up. They may not be the best answers that you can come up with, but those are the brevity, the shortness of the answers that you are after. I do think that was particularly a difficult question. Awe and wonder always is, to be fair. So if we look at the part 3 question, explain 2 similar religious beliefs in contemporary British society that are used to oppose animal experimentation. So the things for you to be aware of on this is to be aware of 2 similar religious beliefs. So that often says similar or different. And we've got the word oppose. So these are, you need to come up with 2 arguments as to why animal experimentation is wrong. You must refer to the main religious tradition of Great Britain and 1 or more other religious traditions. Please remember though, this is a religious studies paper, and if it wants the main religious tradition, that is Christianity. No matter what you may feel about whatever censuses are telling you, that's what the exam board are after. Please note, this is how it is marked. Simple explanation of 1 religious belief, 1 mark. Detailed explanation of a religious belief, 2 marks. Okay, please note this is from the examiner's information. Examiners should take care to note that the target of the question, so in other words making sure that you answer the question, clear information is provided for these types of questions on how to award marks. Examiners should carefully read the additional instructions provided in each type of question, e.g. for influence questions, the final sentence in the general guidance box reminds the examiner that the second mark, the detailed explanation, must be awarded in the case of the word influence. So when you look at your questions, you must make sure you explain, or shall I say you go into it in how the question's asking to it. So this question is 2 similar religious beliefs in British society that are used to oppose animal experimentation. So how's this going to look? Well, what you might start with is making sure that you always start with this phrase. Some Christians. Okay, so there is our main religious tradition of Great Britain in there already. And we're using the word some, as I say quite a lot in my videos, simply for the fact that it means you find me some Christian that doesn't agree with it and you get away with it. Okay, so some Christians think animal experimentation, I'm focusing on the question, is wrong. Please note it does need to be against, doesn't it? Because God made animals and they had value in the creation narrative. Okay, there are 2 points in that. I am just going to expand that first point deliberately. This shows that animals are important as God created them. Another, and this is where you could put a second religious viewpoint, another Christian view is that animals were made by God, and so Christians have a, let's change that to people, so that people have a duty to look after them. This is called stewardship. Therefore, experimenting on animals is wrong, as this is not looking after them. Okay, that is 4 out of 4. Okay, you might argue it's not very well written. It is quite late when I'm putting this together, but it's the process I'm trying to show you this evening. It's how it actually fits together. So I've got 2 points there. So if we flick back to our mark scheme, a simple explanation of a relevant and accurate belief. It is. It's detailed because I've got a second viewpoint in it. This shows that. And then again, that's the first bit's 2 marks, and then again I've got the second 2 marks showing there as well. Okay, I think that's fairly clear as to how I've got there. Now, when you get to a part 4 question, it's the same as a part 3 question. If you look at your marking criteria, those bits are exactly the same. And please note the additional markers here: relevant and accurate reference to sacred writings and another source of religious belief and teaching. So I'm going to suggest that that's the Bible teaches that, because that's what I generally do with my students. Obviously you can quote other religious teachings if appropriate. So again, we're going to look at this question and see how it goes. Again, we're going to look at this question and see how it goes. So 2 reasons why many religious people protect the environment. In some ways, it's a very similar question. So, some Christians try to protect the environment. Yes, I know I spelled that wrong. Environment, because God made the world and therefore they should look after it. People are called to be stewards of the world. Other Christians try to look after the environment as creation was a gift from God for them to enjoy. We have a responsibility towards others in the world and future generations to look after it and treat it well so they can enjoy it too. Right, so far 4 marks, okay? 5th mark, we need the Bible teaches that. So you could do point, evidence, explain, point, evidence, or you could just do the Bible teaches that at the bottom. So the Bible teaches that we should rule over the world, and part of ruling over the world is looking after it. Okay, there we go. I've got my quote in and it's explained. So there's my 5th mark. Okay, again, as I said earlier, you might do better than me on this. I'm literally throwing this together on the hoof because I want to sort of just demonstrate the technique of it. Then you get to the big one, the 12 mark question. Now, I talk quite a lot about using farm for, against, rebuttal and my opinion. I'll show you how this could work. And people who value and protect human life will be rewarded in the afterlife. Okay, again, bit of a tricky question, that one, but we'll see how that should work. Now, it does give you guidelines of what needs to go in. It says you need reasoned arguments to support this statement, a different point of view, religious arguments. You don't need non-religious arguments in this section of the paper, so please just stick with religious ones, and a justified conclusion. Please remember how it's marked. There you go. It starts with saying it's not worthy of credit. A point of view with reason is supported. a logical chain of reasoning, more than one point of view with relevant reasons, a reasoned consideration of different points of view, logical change of reasonings, clear reference to religion, and well argued. I'm going to be doing an answer that's going to fall in this category here. Okay, remember, if you get that, it's going to be that grade 5, grade 6 level, which is what I'm talking about. Obviously, there's a lot more places you can go there, and there are other videos that I've got on where I try to expand what this is like. This is a short video clip to try and demonstrate for you. So let's go to my blank boxes. Here you go. And I'll go there. So here we go. Let's see how that would look. So I'm going to go with Roman Catholics. Roman Catholics think that we should protect other humans so that we go to heaven, because I'm going to back this up with a reason. Because God made everything on earth and we are imago Dei, in the image of God. And I change that to humans. Humans are imago Dei, in the image of God. The Bible teaches, so I'm using my point evidence explanation, that when God made humans, the creation was very good. This shows that humans are the pinnacle, most important aspect of creation. Therefore we should look after each other. This is my linking it back to the question. So I've got, this shows that humans are the pinnacle aspect of creation. That's my explanation to that. Therefore we should look after each other in order to go to heaven. Okay, then I'm going to move on to my against. That's my for argument. Okay, so if I move on to the next bit, some Quaker Christians may disagree as the quality of life is more important than the sanctity of life. How important life is. So I've got a key term in there. The Bible says that we should love one another, and loving someone who is in pain, maybe it's the best to help them end their life with euthanasia if they wanted. God would not judge people for caring for others, so this action may not affect the afterlife. I've gone with Quakers because they say love is the most important thing. It's a really good opposite from Roman Catholics. And then I'm going to put my rebuttal in. So my rebuttal is the alternative viewpoint. So it could be for or it could be against. It could be either of those. And I've got here, some Church of England Christians think that abortion may be acceptable in some circumstances, for example rape. Even though the Bible teaches do not murder, it also teaches treat others as you like to be treated. This would apply as it's unfair to force a pregnant woman to carry a baby that they did not consent for. God is loving and would understand this. Okay, so again, even though the statement is people who value and protect life will be rewarded in the afterlife, I'm explaining an alternative viewpoint for it, and that's absolutely fine to do. But please note, you must stick near the statement, and there are probably better answers to this out there. So I've got those, so that's my for and against and rebuttal. I then need my opinion. But remember, guys, that my opinion isn't actually what you think. It's which is the strongest argument. So, in my opinion, I think that the Quaker argument is the best, as it shows that God is bigger than rules, and since God is love and we are called to love each other, I am sure that God will not judge someone harshly for ending another person's life if it is done with a good heart. So there we've got it. That's the overview of what we have just gone through, and as you can see, it's not deliberately complicated. The exam board do not try and complicate it. The more detail you can get into your part 4 and 5 answers, the better it is for you. Obviously part 3 is useful to get some detail in, but keep part 1 and part 2 short as well. Hopefully that was helpful for you. As always, guys, look after yourselves, stay safe, and just keep going with it. You can do this. I know that may seem complicated, but it's really not. Break it down, have a go at questions. You'll find a load of questions on their website. If not, speak to myself or one of your teachers. Have a good day.